Hi, I'm talking to Homeopath Francine Bork. Hi, Francine, how are you?
Hi, Joanne. How are you? I'm good, thank you.
Great. Francine, tell me, what are the principles of homeopathy?
It's a great question. The basic first principle of homeopathy is that the similar will cure the similar. So, for example, in a person who is stimulated, let's say at night, and they can't go to sleep and they're suffering from insomnia, if they inhale coffee beans, coffee is a stimulant, it could actually relax them. So that's just one basic, very quick example of the similar curing the similar. The second principle is what we call the minimum dose, which is where homeopathic remedies are highly diluted. It's the least amount of a substance that will bring the maximum amount of healing. And the third principle is a single classical homeopathy is using single remedies, meaning we will evaluate an individual, come up with a homeopathic treatment using remedies that are similar in nature to the energy patterns of the person, and then we will administer one remedy at a time and monitor how that remedy is affecting them. One of the most important things I would say about homeopathy is that,
Sorry.
I want to say one other thing. One of the most important things that I want to say about homeopathy is that it's supposed to be permanent, gentle, and rapid. So it's deep healing.
Do homeopathic remedies always act very fast, or can it sometimes be a process?
It can be both. It's very individual. It depends on the illness. It depends on the person. Chronic situations, of course, are going to be a process, although I've had amazing experience with chronic situations that were gone in a very, very short period of time. And I've had acute situations that went quickly or took time as well. I mean, in acute situations, of course, we're really on top of it, and it's something that we need to deal with quickly.
Give me a specific example of an acute or chronic condition that you could treat as a homeopath.
The flu is the most common situation. We have different types of fever. You could have sudden fever, very hot fever, high spikes, where the person is feeling heat and red. Typically that could be a belladonna type of fever, or it could come on very slow and gradually, and where you'll notice in the glossiness in the eyes and maybe puppy dog eyes, which could be a delphinium type of fever. So that's one example using fluid.
Can homeopathy treat addictions, for example, smoking?
Oh, absolutely. I tend to think that a lot of our illness is around obsessions of different types. And if we look at homeopathy as a tool to turn down the energy inside of us, then yes, absolutely. I'm thinking of one remedy in particular, which is carbovegetalis. Carbovegetalis is charcoal. And what is smoking? Smoking is charcoal. It's a very commonly used remedy for smoking. We also have remedies like tobacco. There's plenty of remedies that work on addiction, and smoking in particular.
Can homeopathic remedies work in conjunction with other medication?
Yes, and I'm very careful when working with people who are medicated for obvious reasons. my goal is to work with them long enough so that we will wean off the conventional medications and bring their body into a balance and function on its own. At one point, I was treating a gentleman who had, I wouldn't want to give him a diagnosis, but he was dealing, we were dealing with some mental illness, and we began our treatment, and over the period of, I would say about 6 months, he gradually weaned himself off of his medications, and today is living without them at all.
If we come back to the smoking as an addiction for a moment, have homeopathic remedies been successful in treating addictions?
I have worked with people on addiction, but I do not want to say that there is one cure that cures everything. And especially in the area of addiction, I find homeopathy is an incredible support to some of the traditional methods of treating. Alcoholics Anonymous, for example, or Narcotics Anonymous, or any of the AA-type programs are very important because it allows us to work through and have a support system as we're going through that. The homeopathic remedy is just making the experience that much easier. It's turning down the volume on the obsession, whatever that is, allowing the person to go through the process. And it really is, it's a journey of self-discovery. And so I like to think of homeopathy as like a triangular sort of, healing, is a triangular sort of process. That on the bottom of it, there's a certain level of introspection, you can call it spirituality if you want, self-awareness, and then there's our physical, the side where we eat properly, we have exercise, take care of our physical needs. And then there's the bridge between the spiritual and the physical, which is where homeopathy is very helpful. Sometimes people are not able to get to that self-awareness so quickly. And in our conversation, in our sessions, I'm able to work with somebody to get to places where they never thought they could ever be in their life. They recently had a session with somebody who said, I never had these thoughts myself. How did you? But it all makes sense to me. And it's sort of like that place that exists inside of us that it's just there. It's the place that it's not on our conscious level. So that's what I have to say on that.
Having said that, do you think that in consulting with a homeopath, especially, with you, would there be a lot more dialogue involved with a patient than what you might have if you just, went into and saw a pharmacist or just popped into your GP?
Well, my consultations are all conversation, but it's more the person is explaining to me what they feel, and then I will take them even a little deeper. The more you are aware of yourself in how you're dealing with life in general, the more you're able to overcome obstacles. And, our self-awareness, what we don't know is 99.9% of our problems. I once had an instructor say to me that we could take a case and we could have 99.9% of the information, but that 0.01% is where the whole solution lies. And it's very difficult for us to have that on our own. So yes, if we're walking into a pharmacy and just picking something up over the counter, we certainly can't know ourselves. First of all, does the average person know homeopathic remedies well enough to know what their similar is? But second of all, do we, even as homeopaths or even as health practitioners, know ourselves well enough to be able to correctly prescribe, I don't want to use that word, but, select homeopathic remedies for our own healing?
Thank you. Thank you, Francine. Thank you so much for talking to me today.
Thank you.